I see you've been on a roll with Jack today. How's Jack been performing today?
I don't know if I want to talk about that with him standing here, to be honest with you, because...
I'll go then. I'll drive home in a minute.
Welcome back, and a special welcome to everybody who has discovered this channel off the back of our Chelsea flower show behind the scenes vlogs. If you haven't seen them, of course, I'm going to say go back and watch them. They're the biggest and best things we have ever put on YouTube, and they have helped us get to over 10,000 subscribers, which is incredible because that has been 18 months of a lot of hard work. We post a vlog every week, and what they usually show is the behind the scenes of the businesses that I own and run and I'm trying to get off the ground. So we document the journey very transparently. Pretty much, I mean, it's a warts and all approach to business and being a small business and all the struggles that we all face. So hopefully if you're in a similar position to me, there'll be some relatability. If you're thinking about working for yourself and making the jump, then hopefully we give you an insight as to what it's really like doing so. We've made it back from Chelsea. This is my first day back at the office, and as you can see around me, I am dealing with all the carnage, everything that was just thrown into the car as we tried to get off site and hand the site back to the RHS. This week, we're going to be showing you back behind the scenes of Hardwood Landscapes. So the business that built at Chelsea, the business that made it all possible. We're going to show you what we actually do day to day, the sites that we actually run, and introduce you to even more of the team. So let's get into it. Been a little bit of a victim over the long weekend of something that I'm sure most small business owners suffer with, and that is as you try and fall asleep, suddenly your brain comes alive, and there were a few sort of 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling sessions for me, running through, I guess, things that maybe I haven't been able to process very well while I've been so busy. So just coming up with plans and solutions and then writing them down, super helpful for me, cliche, I know it sounds, but to have a notebook next to the bed, so whenever I go through those moments, I can actually write them down, and it's a good way of getting it out of my head. So it works for me, hopefully it works for you if you also suffer with that sort of thing. So definitely feeling a little bit bleary-eyed, but I'm on my way to an APL committee meeting, so I will be there all day today. Another great opportunity to network and discuss points that affect our industry with some of the best and the most passionate in the industry. So it's going to be an inspiring room. I'm looking forward to it, and if there's any sort of key takeaways that could benefit you, I will let you know. I'm going to hand you over to Harry now. So a couple of our guys were working over the bank holiday weekend to keep the momentum going on our sites and make sure they earned a bit of time and a half money. So let's see how they got on. They were over at our latest project where we've just broken ground in Guildford.
I just wanted to get into reading to better myself and practice my English, but Charlie's disappointed in how much I've been reading.
Oh, how little you've been reading.
Yeah. Where are we, Charlie?
We're in Guildford. Bank holiday Monday.
Yeah, only 2 grafting today. We thought, why not? We love it so much that we want to do it on the public holidays when no one else is working, so yeah. Small team out today, myself and Charlie. Will behind the camera, of course, also putting in some effort on the weekend, the long weekend. Just down here cracking on from following on from last week. Putting in some manholes today and some type 1s coming in. Looking at porcelain footings tomorrow. Just sort of eating away at the tasks. Charlie's loving it, aren't you?
I'm loving it.
He's a bit of a shock this morning as his car was broken into.
Yeah, the car's been ransacked. A few opportunistic little rascals come by, and you know, such is life. Swings and roundabouts, but we're alive, we're kicking, still got the car.
We're going to put there's going to be a donation link in the comments to donate to Charlie to get him a new Louis Vuitton wallet to replace the old one.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, would be appreciated.
And the donation's appreciated. And
yeah, cheers.
So thank you, Harry. Him and Charlie have made great progress there. Good to see everything going, good to see everything going so well and progress being made. One of those things that was going on in my mind that I was talking about before we went to see Harry there was we've got a couple of forced pay rises coming up, and those are for young members of the team who do feature in the vlogs. You guys will know them, but they've got a little bit older, and with minimum wages rising, what that's meant is we are now forced to give them a pay rise. And yeah, that's no problem. Of course we will do so. That's what we're obliged to do. But I think the frustration and the thing that I find annoying about the situation is, to me, they are worth more than minimum wage, and we have always, so hear me out on this, and we have always paid them more than minimum wage. They have also received pay rises above the rate of inflation every year that they have been with us. So for them to now be forced to have a very small pay adjustment to the new minimum wage, like I said, that's fine, but they are now considered minimum wage employees again, which I'm not entirely happy about. But we haven't got landscaping, as I touched on all the time, same as horticulture, isn't an industry where we have the margins where we can artificially, pay our guys more than what we can pay them. So whilst they've gone from year-on-year pay rises, they are now back on minimum wage, and sort of made me reflect on my journey in the landscaping industry. My first salary was £18,000, and I was on that for almost 2 years with no pay rises or movement. So when we first employed labourers, we actually started employing them. So unskilled young labourers new to the industry was £18,000, and that's just because that was what I was paid. Over the last few years, we've changed that. One of the main reasons we changed that is because a lot of the competition around us still pay that as an opening salary, so we wanted to pay more. It helped us attract staff, it helped us stand out, it helped people say yes to us if they were shopping around with a few different employers. So we were starting labourers typically on £21,000 a year. So again, this is unskilled, unqualified, haven't got their own tools. The only expectation is they would have their own means of transport to get themselves to our sites. So being able to pay them above and beyond inflation every year and give them progression that I never had access to was something I was quite proud of. So it sort of feels like that's been taken away a little bit. Now, I know it's very easy to listen to that and think, well, you have to pay your staff minimum wage. Of course we do, but it's just amazing at how quick the rates have been changing. I haven't been landscaping for very long. The minimum wage that I was talking about, I was on, God, when was it? Probably about 10 years ago, and in that time the minimum wage has risen almost £10,000 for that age category, which is insane, because what landscaping companies are able to charge their clients within that 10-year period, it hasn't really changed. So again, it's another great representation of the costs that are being pushed on us. It's really tricky to remain competitive if we don't pass them on to the clients. There's a big problem with trades industries, and I highlighted it in a vlog that I did recently where I broke down some costs at the beginning of the episode. It's a problem where people aren't business savvy enough, and that doesn't mean you need to exploit clients or you're chasing profits or you're prioritizing profit over the quality of the project you're delivering. But it does mean that if you're a business owner, you need to be adjusting what you're charging your clients at least at the rate of inflation, which I guarantee a huge proportion of people aren't doing. Otherwise, year on year, you are just losing money. We want to make sure we are paying everyone fairly, but it's tough. We're going to take you over to Woking now to one of our jobs that the Hardwood team are currently wrapping up. We are leaving all the area to grass seed, so it's still going to be a few weeks before it really looks how we want it to, but we're going to show you how we've handed the garden over to the clients.
Kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, right?
Better to have the right amount and too mulch.
Awful bloke.
Who invited this guy?
Awful bloke.
Who invited this guy?
Welcome back to our little Woking project on completion day. It's been a nice, calm day, which has been lovely. I've been here for a couple of days. Yesterday I ran all the in-light lighting, got all that set up. I'm fired up for the clients to enjoy last night. So they've sort of given me the A-OK that they're happy with all the light placements and stuff, which is cool. Today, myself and Jack have been here doing the irrigation, and we're mulching the beds, and we're almost at the end of the mulching. Oh, and we've seeded the lawn as well. So all the nice little like tidy bits at the end of a job, which is actually, yeah, it's really satisfying to do, and you definitely get that end of project feeling. Yeah, and the sun's still shining, so yeah, we're all good really. Clients are over the moon with it. We had Jude from Inspired Earth who did the design here. She had her team down on Tuesday doing all the planting, which is amazing. So yeah, it's really, I mean, the garden's completely been brought to life this week. Yeah, so it's nice to tick another one off. Everyone's happy that's been involved in this one. Yeah, so it's good. Reflecting on what I was talking about earlier in the car with staffing, I think it's really important as well, if you're a business owner, to have the clarity on your staff and how it is that you gain the correct amount of revenue from each staff member to make sure you can employ them profitably. So the members of the staff that I was referencing earlier specifically, their value to the company is their time. How we gain profitable revenue from those staff is by charging them out at a rate that is the overall company costs divided by chargeable members of staff divided by chargeable days and working days and years, etc., plus all the associated margins we need to actually make sure the business survives. That's the value that they can add. The value that somebody like Matt adds isn't based on a day rate. He is charged out and paid accordingly to the value that he can add to the business. So in things like quoting and project management, looking for opportunity to make profit margins. So where he makes a margin, he's just got to make enough of them to justify his salary. So hopefully I've explained that right. But members of staff at Hardwood, like myself and Matt, and probably soon to be Jay, we take a salary, but we do not earn through chargeable time. We earn by making the business profit, basically. So yeah, interesting. And I'm also reflecting on all of it because we've obviously got a bit of extra overheads to now cover with these pay rises. But not only that, we have just had our first VAT return through. So we're finishing, we've got a couple of very small, well, a handful of small invoices to still put forward to it. So the number isn't going to change much. But yeah, £50,000 our latest VAT return. Ouch, ouch. That is a big kick in the nuts with cash flow. But it's funny. It's I've gone through so many of them now. So many of them to be pretty bummed about it, to be pretty fed up about it, to just be baffled if we're talking about value adds, you know, the value that the lovely people at the top are definitely not adding to the day-to-day life of myself or a small business. But yeah, £50,000 we've paid HMRC. But hey, how we need to look at it
is another month where we have survived, another month where it's a small business going, another month where all of our staff are going to be paid, that's all of their salaries supported, another month where we have cleared about another £10,000 of company debt, so not bad debt, as in what I'm referencing is finance payments and payments towards assets, etc. So the goods debt that we pay off, but anyway, it's payment towards our assets that we are that much closer to owning. So yeah, it is progress. It is expensive and it is painful, but it is progress. So for those who've watched the vlogs for a while, you will know that not only do we build gardens, but we also look after them, and we have a fantastic maintenance team. So it's them that we're going to go and check in with now.
Do you know, my job has many parts to it. Obviously, to manage the maintenance scheduling, the teams, as the teams grow. But as on top of all of those things, and obviously getting gardens looking as good as I possibly can, part of what I do is a creative form of maintenance. And the reality is that has elements of design in it. Over there somewhere, you can probably spot the tops of a couple of ornamental cherries. I've spotted 3 cherries and 2 Photinia, kind of grouped together. And I know about the rule of odds, always look better than evens. However, in that situation with those 2 different species of plant, I realised it actually looks much better as 2 interlocking triangles. It would just finish off the copse really neatly and nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mention it to my client later on today, and if they agree with me, then I'll pop to Van Arnhem, I'll pick up another Photinia, and I'll finish off that triangle. So instead of just maintaining, it's maintaining and enhancing everything that's around me. Those 3 are making a triangle.
Yeah.
And then those 2 Photinia have just kind of been plonked in.
Yeah.
Right? So a much better design would be to have a triangle overlapping a triangle. So you do the 3 cherries, and you've got those 2 Photinia there. It just needs 1 more Photinia this side. And that would look awesome.
Well, we're going to have to go to Van Arnhem, aren't we?
We are.
And Guildford.
Well, talk with the client first.
Oh, we'll talk with the client, yeah.
Always sensible before we spend our money.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to Van Arnhem, get another one, pop it in, and it'll look fabulous.
Good evening. We are vlogging at 6 o'clock. Again, it's not as sunny today. As you can see, it's actually been pretty grim weather today, much cooler, but we have still had good progress, and that is Matt, or was Matt, arriving back to the yard after a long day. He's very nearly there with that project. He has been doing a small one we haven't shown you much of, but we have mentioned it recently, so I'm going to take you over there now, because Will was on site with him today to see how he got on.
Morning. We're in the beautiful seaside town of Midhurst, birthplace to His Royal Highness King Charles I, and today we're turfing. It was a large area of sort of pretty barren soil, and the pathway down there was a lot bigger, so they wanted more grass space, so we've removed some of the paving and pulled all the sub-base and concrete out, and then we got a full load of topsoil delivered that was grabbed in over the driveway there. We've graded that out, lifted the trees because the trees were a little bit low, put the tree rings around them and some irrigation loops. So they're basically a loop of perforated pipe under the base of the tree with a snorkel that comes up, put the hose in to make sure that the water gets right down to the root system. When we first got here, the trees were looking a little bit wilted, a little bit sad, hedge line as well. So suggested to the client that we put these bits of irrigation in. So we've done a drip line down the hedge line here, and then they also requested that we, as a result of that, requested we put a drip line in on the new native hedging that's recently been planted down the boundary line there. So turf came today about 10, half 10 I think, so it gives us a good bit of time to roll it out.
Good morning. It is Thursday, we are nearly through the short week, and if I look a little bit flustered, it's because I am. 3 weeks apparently is the time it takes for me to forget how painful the sports massages that I've been going to are. I made a bit of a commitment to myself to try and go regularly, routinely. I definitely notice a difference, and it's very, very important that I do not need to tell you to look after your body. And as a business owner and someone who's flat out all the time, it's amazing how easy it is for your own sort of body and mind to come second, which, as you know, never ever should be the case. But that woman, wow, she has got some seriously powerful hands. Very, very good at what she does. Woke up this morning naively, looking forward to it, and I have limped out of there. It's not a massage where there's a candle going or a bit of incense and the lights are dim and some whale music on in the background. No, it's a clean, clinical room, bright white LED lights. Yeah, it's intense. Anyway, that's a little bit of self-care done for me. Super focused now and heading back to the office to catch up with everybody there. I mean, it's only 9 AM, so we've still got plenty of daytime left. We're going to head over now though and see how Jay and the maintenance teams are getting on. We're going to go do a little site visit with them, and then I'll catch up with you and run you through my day when we are back at the office.
So I wanted to show you this because this is Rhododendron luteum. Lutea being the Latin for yellow, rhodo being the Greek for rose, dendron being the Greek for tree. So effectively it's the yellow rose tree, if you really wanted to be funny about it. A lot of people call this the yellow azalea or the honeysuckle azalea, but there is a key difference, and it's a very minute thing. Azalea are part of the same family of plants as rhododendron, although the genus is slightly different. This is a deciduous rhododendron, so it leaves its leaves every year. Highly, highly fragrant, smells really quite lovely, but when you're too close to it, it can smell a little bit sickly. But it is a lovely addition to a garden, really bright colour. But actually what you have to look at to know if it's an azalea or a rhododendron are the anthers at the top here. They're the boy bits of the plant creating the pollen, and that is caught then up here, which is a lady piece of the plant. And all we're doing is literally just counting them. So we're seeing there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 anthers on this, sat on their pistils. So 5 or more anthers tells me it's a rhododendron, not an azalea. If there's less than 5, it's an azalea. It's a very minor botanical thing, but take this away. There's a lovely bit of nectar at the bottom. So the bees are going in, getting their nectar, taking the pollen away, transferring that over there, and there we have seeds in the making. Isn't that wonderful? God, I love nature.
There we go, another week behind the scenes, mostly at Hardwood Landscapes. So I hope you've enjoyed it. We are, of course, the company that has delivered those 2 incredible Chelsea Flower Show gardens that so many of you followed along with. On the topic of Chelsea, we're not quite done with it yet. We've got a vlog coming up that's going to show some of the behind the scenes of the breakdown and dismantling all of that, which was even more chaotic than the build, so stay tuned. But next week's vlog, to give us a bit of an editing buffer, we're going to be sitting down to do a Q&A. There's lots of people who had lots of questions about Chelsea, so if there's something that you are curious about, any questions that you have, if you drop it in the comments, next week we will make sure to address it. We've got loads and loads and loads coming up on the Learning the Hard Way vlogs. Most excitedly for a lot of people, possibly myself included, is finally we are getting the wheels of our fantastic pink grab truck turning. So we have another huge element of content coming. We have another business that has now officially started, so it's another warts and all look behind the scenes at another small company with trucks, diggers, all the fun stuff that everybody loves. We will catch you next week.